Good morning, Morgan Maxwell Mountain Lions. Today is Monday, March 29th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you, and you may be seated.
Our on-campus lunch menu for today is a cheeseburger or hamburger, and breakfast for tomorrow is a cinnamon roll. Just a reminder, guys, that if you're on campus and you're grabbing breakfast, even if you're not hungry, even if you already ate breakfast, there's also snacks included for later in the morning when you have your recess or your break. So even if you're not hungry right then, grab a bag, and that way you have a snack for recess time. All right, I don't have any birthdays today. And so let's go into our Women's History Month moment. Today, our moment is about Patsy Mink, the first Asian American woman and the first woman of color to serve in the U.S. Congress. I had never heard of Patsy Mink before today, and I think I missed out. She was an advocate for women's rights, for education, for children's rights, and she did a lot of good during her 4 decades of service to the U.S. government. Let's learn about Patsy Mink.
May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and here's a moment in Asian Pacific American history. Patsy Mink was born in 1927 in the Hawaiian Territory now known as the island of Maui. Patsy was the first in many achievements. Not only was she the first woman to be admitted to the bar in the state of Hawaii, she was the first woman of color, the first Asian American woman, and the first woman to be elected to Congress representing the people of Hawaii. After graduating from law school, Patsy founded the Oahu Young Democrats and worked as an attorney for the Territorial House of Representatives. Patsy was a trailblazer and is considered one of the great legislators of the 1960s. Patsy was a key author of the Title IX Amendment to the Higher Education Act. This act was renamed by President George W. Bush in 2002 and is now known as the Patsy Mink Equal Opportunity in Education Act. This public law prohibits anyone from being excluded from participating in any educational program or activity based on their gender. It is because of Patsy Mink's forward thinking that we have women's sports teams in our schools. During her tenure in Congress, Patsy also introduced the first comprehensive Early Childhood Education Act and authored the Women's Education Equity Act. Patsy served 6 consecutive terms in Congress from 1965 to 1977, and then entered the presidential race in the Oregon State primary on an anti-Vietnam War platform. She didn't win, but went on to serve President Jimmy Carter as Assistant Secretary of State for Oceans and International Environmental and Scientific Affairs under Secretaries of State Cyrus Vance and Ed Muskie. In 1990, she returned to Congress and served another 12 years. She advocated for women's rights, equal rights, reform in healthcare, and education, until her death in 2002.
This moment in Asian Pacific American history was brought to you by the United States Capitol Historical Society and the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies.
All right, a few announcements today. All right, our AZ Merit Science Test begins today for our on-campus 5th graders and tomorrow for our on-campus 8th graders. 8th graders, just a reminder, make sure you get lots of sleep tonight and eat breakfast either at home or when you get to school. Even if you're too nervous to eat or you don't feel hungry, it helps to just have a little bit of something, as that's what helps our brain continue to work and function at its highest level. So make sure that you try to grab a snack or something on the way to school. Also, just a reminder that there is no school on Friday. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. That's both remote and in person. You have Friday off. All right, I want to make sure all of our friends see that our AZ Merit testing schedule. If you look at the yellow, that's this week. So today we have 5th grade doing their science test. Tomorrow we have 8th grade doing their science test. What if you're a remote 5th grader or 8th grader? Well, you're only allowed to take AZ Merit on campus. So if you are remote, then we would like for you to come to school on Wednesday if you're in 5th grade and on Thursday if you're in 8th grade to take the science test this week. Someone will have reached out to you or your parents. And everyone will be testing next week in grades 3 through 8. So our 3rd graders start on Monday, our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are Tuesday, no testing on Wednesday, and there's a form for 4th graders on Thursday, and our 5th graders are Friday to take the test. So we'll have more information about that coming out. All right, just so everyone can email us, your teachers will be talking about it, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask any grown-ups that you see during the day, and they will try to answer your questions. All right, I've been talking about it for a few weeks now. Today is the start of our virtual book fair. So your parents will be receiving a link to our Scholastic Book Fair. Any books you buy, the school gets a little bit of money for that to buy new books for the library. So if your parents thought that you needed some new books or you have some money to spend, we would really appreciate if you would buy from the book fair. Remember, if you spend at least $25, you get free shipping and the books come directly to your house.
A Hoberman sphere, or breathing ball, can be an anchor for mindful
All right,
breathing
it's
to
Mindful
help
Monday,
you focus your
and
thoughts or to
in order to
calm
help
you
our
down.
friends in 5th grade get ready
Inhale
for testing
through
today,
your nose
we're
as
going
the
to
ball
do some
expands.
deep breathing exercises. These are really great
Pause,
when you're feeling a little bit
then
nervous or when you're
exhale
anxious
through
or
your nose as the
overwhelmed or
ball
when you're having a hard
contracts.
time focusing. Make sure you
If the
watch
breathing
ball
ball moves
as
too
it
quickly
gets
or
bigger
slowly
and
for
gets
you,
smaller, and
you
that
can
will help
breathe
you
at your
focus
own
and help
pace.
put your mind in a place of
Let's
calm.
try it together. Breathe in. Breathe out. 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 Take a moment to notice how that felt for you.
The things we say to ourselves help us believe every day that we're capable and we can do these things. They also give us better health. They help us have better friendships and better relationships with people in our lives. And they help us be more successful. So why wouldn't we do them? So I want everyone to focus. First, we're going to do our PBIS expectations, and then we're going to do our daily affirmations. So students, go ahead and sit up. Go ahead and be looking at the screen. The time
All right,
we're going to do our daily
affirmations
affirmations and
in just a minute.
participate
I'm
is
just
now.
running through a quick
I'm
list
going to
reminding
say
you
them,
why we
and
do
then you're going to
affirmations.
repeat after me.
Affirmations are
So our
positive
first group,
statements we
I
say
like
to
when we say
ourselves.
it together. You can
Things
say
we
these
want
in
to
your
achieve,
mind.
things
You
we
can
want
say
to
these
believe
out
about
loud.
ourselves.
They work
And
both
people
ways,
who
but
do
make sure you're
affirmations,
focusing
and
on
this
them.
is kids,
So
this is
remember,
grown-ups.
Morgan Maxwell
These
Mountain Lions practice.
affirmations
Say
can
it with me.
motivate us.
Being safe.
They make our
being
lives
responsible,
better when we know
being
what we want
respectful,
and we're committed
and
to
being
getting it.
kind.
They also boost
All
our
right,
confidence.
now we're going to do our daily affirmations, and these ones I want you to repeat after me. So make sure you repeat after me.